Welcome, Dave, to the podcast.
Good to be back.
Uh, when was the last time you did a podcast?
Oh, I don't think I've been on one since I stopped mine. I
Awesome.
think so.
Excellent. I'm
Nearly
honored.
2 years.
I'm honored.
I think the last one I did as a guest, I went on, Human Being Mental, was it? No, I went down to meet Human Being Mental, and we've interviewed some people on the streets of Bristol.
Human
And
being
before that,
mental.
there
Uh,
was a different podcast, and it's stopped now, I think. It doesn't pop up on my feed anymore. Um, I mean,
it's because,
I'm annoyed that I can't remember the name of it, but it was a
well,
while ago.
you don't have a feed now because you got off social media, and I'm so jealous of that.
I see the problem is I'll probably come back.
Everyone does, but I, to me, it's the personal interaction with people, which is why, like, from day one, I was like, I don't care about followers. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I
Yep.
just want to talk to the person in real life. You
Yeah.
obviously are doing that now because,
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I speak to less people, a lot less people now.
right,
Um, and in the exact Well, I'm about to start going back into schools and stuff in the next couple of weeks, but we've
right,
been building this online learning platform
that's
um,
amazing.
to go into schools, and that is now with a select number of schools doing a pilot season on it, which is fantastic. That has meant I've been sat at this desk a lot. I've edited more videos than I ever did when I was on social media. And that's just for the pilot, and the pilot's like a tenth of what the full project is.
Jeez.
So
Well,
yeah, life is. I couldn't even begin to describe. Well, I suppose I couldn't begin to describe how different life is from from when I saw you in person, in October 3 years ago, so October 22.
uh,
Um,
1905. Yeah, I think is, but
um, like mm, like my life is completely different than it was then.
that's
Like
so great.
completely different.
That's so good.
Well,
It
is it? It could be different, but worse. It's not.
see, and that's the whole thing. So up for the challenge has flown to America 3 times. I've met with Leo about 4 times. RJ has come in, a couple times. Like that was my whole purpose. Was
Yeah.
like it doesn't have to be the click of the heart button or any of this bullshit. You've got to get to know that person, and I feel like
Hmm.
when you stepped away from that, I loved that you did that. I was like, God, that's so cool. like, I, like really cool because you were the one that wanted. I think you said at one point it was like, I want to be famous to help, more people. But the thing is,
Yeah, yeah.
more
Fame was not was more the means to the end. It was
right,
never the end. So,
right. But the thing is, with
and now I couldn't care. Now, to be honest, I couldn't care less. Although
exactly,
every
yeah,
now and then I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I've got a really good idea here that I wish people could hear. But
uh, so that was kind of the whole point from the beginning was like you have 10 people 10, just 10 that you meet in real life that you've affected, you're famous to them. So like that's a massive thing because all the online shit to me is bullshit.
yeah, there's an expression I kind of
Uh,
I rationalize the whole thing with a lot of times about stepping away from social media, and a lot of my community did feel quite let down by the fact that it was very out the blue.
right,
Um,
right,
It sort of wasn't for me. It was like the musings around it had been going on for a while, but
right.
the snap decision was very out the blue. For like it came and it was a moment of clarity, and yeah, so it was a bit sudden. And then the problem was at that point, is it felt strange to then ramp things down, which
Yeah.
maybe I should have done. Maybe I should have like come back and done a couple of farewell streams or something. Let people know
Right.
it's
Right.
ending at
Right.
this time. And I maybe I should have done that, but at the time I was like, I I just feel weird. I felt
Yeah.
weird about kind of
Yeah.
like I don't know, like keeping it going. And so yeah, so there were a couple of people, quite a few people that felt let down by that. Um, but the way I've kind of had to say it to myself, and I'll probably butcher this because I've not actually said it out loud yet. I just say it
No, it's
inside my
fine.
own head, which is I needed to stop trying to be. By trying to be everything for everyone, I was being no one to the people that mattered. Is the way I suppose is the way to say it.
Yeah.
My I wouldn't say my relationship was suffering, but we were sat on our away on our wedding anniversary, and Alona was 6 months pregnant at the time with Bella, and I'd kind of been able to juggle the content creator slash streamer life with having two children
Right.
because those two children were a lot older and they were already
Yeah.
very independent. And they only lived with me half the week as well. And then I kind of thought, I'm only going to get this one shot being a super hands-on dad with Bella. And And I didn't want anything to really stand in the way of that. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to be flaky. I got to the point where I'd
Wow.
rather be nothing for people on social media than a flaky person on social media. And so it was, and I don't regret it like at all.
Good.
Like Alona
Good.
only asked me
Good.
about a week ago, do I ever miss it? And now missing it is a different matter than regretting it.
Right.
Like, because as you well, it's taken us quite a while to be able to schedule in a chat. And
Right.
that
Right.
is kind of like it's funny because I'm like, where the hell was I? Like my life was full before Bella and then I got rid of something that was filling it quite a lot, which was, social media. I was spending a lot of time on
Right.
that. And then life just made like filled that void so quick. And it wasn't just Bella, it wasn't just having another child. Like work, like the work
Yeah.
with the NHS. I mean, I for years I'd turned down I was only working one contracted day with the National Health Service.
Right.
And I'd turned down a second day for years because I didn't want it to interfere with the creation of Mindset by Dave, the brand.
Right. Right.
I always thought that my ability to impact and my ability to change and to help people, I always thought there was a much higher ceiling on that with Mindset by Dave, and there may still be.
Right.
And but what a lot of times I was doing in the streaming space is I was giving there were a number of people within the community that were just they'd ask for absolutely everything and never really do anything with anything that you told them. Never like
Right.
the and you know and it, and as after
I
so
agree with
much
you on that.
time,
I agree with you.
after so much time, I was like, I want to help people, but am I actually I'm this person that I'm spending so many several hours with throughout streams throughout
Yeah.
the week or months. I'm not actually helping this person,
Right.
and so that was that was stealing a lot of energy, and it really, and I think like from the ADHD perspective, like we'll do anything as long as the dopamine's there. It's like
Well, that's the
when
whole
we see
point.
something's working,
Right.
we will double down, triple down, we will go
100%.
for it. When
100%.
we feel like something isn't working, when we feel like we're putting our energy into the wrong place, that's where
Wow.
and unfortunately, like that, yeah, that was the case there. But now, so I always thought I can't take on a second day because I can't stop the
Right.
ability to help those people. And then it
Jesus.
went to 2 days immediately after I left streaming, and then 6 months later went to 3 days. And so, and basically now the way it works now is I have one day where in my working week, I have one day where I look after my daughter. Like I have the whole day with Bella on a Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I work for the NHS, and Friday is when I do Mindset by Dave stuff. And the Mindset by Dave stuff mostly now is checking in on my emails, looking in on. I've still
So you
got a
still do
handful of
mindset
one-to-one
by Dave
clients.
stuff.
I still have
And
10, I think, one-to-one clients.
okay.
That now those are
10
some of them
one
are on
time
week.
one-on-one clients? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah. So, but they're not. I don't see it. I don't see all of them every week.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
like some of them, in fact, so yeah, only three of them are on monthly. One of them's on bi-weekly, and the
Okay.
rest are on weekly.
Right.
So, so yeah, I fit them into that time, and so yeah, like I'm like, and the other thing as well is like whenever I get an idea for a piece of social media, I'm like, is this a conflict of interest with my NHS job? I'm like, and I was like. So I keep on trying to say to them, can we just like, this is, and I said I might be coming back. It's like I've always thought, not always thought, but I've been thinking like, okay, this thing that we're doing here is, is would be great for a social media post as well. And like maybe if they
Right.
wanted me for an extra half a day a week without paying me anymore, we could somehow make it where they push my and it's not working out. It's like there is a conflict of interest, and I think they've always been a little bit worried as they were back when I was doing the mental health family hour. They're always a bit worried about what's he saying in his other content. It's like
So to me, and we'll talk about this off recording afterwards. But like for me, it's just it's not jealousy, but it's also like I just respect the fuck out of you for getting
thank
out
you.
of that shit. Because honestly, like it's that dopamine hit, right? It's that
Mm.
dopamine hit. How many likes? How many followers? How many this? How many that? And it's like, are we really actually doing a fucking thing to help someone else, or are we just
But
that
that's the weirdest thing about it is like so I'm obviously because I'm putting zero things out, I'm getting zero likes, and that to me, getting like like that expression, if it's better to try and fail than never try at all, it's
right?
like I feel like I found the
Right.
exception. It's
So
like,
my question to you
I'm
is,
like,
how many people, how many real life likes do you have
don't know,
versus
don't you just? But the thing is,
probably a
I
lot?
think we were, I think we were never supposed to know. I think that's the trick.
Yeah,
Is we were
I
never supposed to be able to, like, life isn't a business. Life isn't like, we're not having to do
exactly
monthly forecasts on it and whatnot. We were never supposed to know exactly how many people we impact.
right.
Like, and I think as a result, like,
That's a
and
good
I
point.
used to say this a lot is like with social media is you actually never did know how many people you impact because like there's posts that have impacted me that I probably didn't hit like on. There's posts that like really enjoyed the first 20 seconds of and I had to swipe off for
Yeah,
reasons other than I disliked it or whatever. Um, but at the same time, it's like you never absolutely you never know, like you never know what that impact is, and like
that's a very
I
good
that's
point.
one of the things I used to get really motivated by in work would be someone who if someone came out of the blue and said, "Oh, you know that thing that you did like 4 years ago or 6 years ago,"
Right.
like that really impacted me. In fact, actually, um, let me see if I've got it somewhere. Like I got one of
Here
these.
we go. There's the bicep by name. Let me see if I've got
I
it.
got one of these not so long ago, and it was through LinkedIn, and I never go on LinkedIn because it's very very businessy.
That's it.
But let's have a little look where it's
I have
probably
it
buried beneath millions and millions of messages of
right.
people trying to sell me their
Oh,
model for
Jesus.
getting more clients, which is why I never go on LinkedIn really. But someone messaged me. And do you remember the like like possibly when we first met, I was still doing it, but maybe not actually. Maybe I'd stopped. I used to do this thing called a life a day where I
Yeah.
basically give
Yep.
an hour of my time.
I
Yeah.
absolutely remember that.
Yeah.
Absolutely
So
remember.
I'd give is this the person? No. Anyway, I can't be bothered. But basically
Good for you.
it
Good
was
for
the
you.
mum of a teenager that I'd gone to see during that. And I'd given him 1 hour of my time. And there were only two teenage boys that I physically went to see that
Right.
in my local town during that because the majority of them were like national or even international, and they were like it
Right.
was like Skype calls, or sorry, not Skype calls, Zoom calls. Um,
Same thing.
so there were two, so as a result, because there was only two, I could remember them quite well because
Right.
there was 1,000 people that I worked with over the 3 years.
Yeah.
So I'd love to say I remember all of them, but I'm not a computer. So yeah, so I remembered these two young lads, and very, very similar stories actually. Both kind of like quite angsty, both trying sort of trying to find their way and whatnot.
Right.
And I got this message from the mum of one of them saying, "I don't know if you remember coming to see my son in what 2018 or whatever it was, um, but I just want you to let you know he's at this point he's got to this sort of rank in the army, and he's very disciplined, he's very driven, and he makes me proud every day stuff." And I was just like, and it had sat there in my inbox for about 2 months because I don't go on LinkedIn. And then
Right.
so I'm getting that. I was just like, this is it's still it, It's like you were
Right.
ne like if she'd have never told me that, I'd have still had that impact on that lad. And that's
Yeah.
the same, like
Thousand
of those
percent.
1,000 people that I spoke to, I would probably have had some form of impact with all but one of them who described me as a low ranking diet rep. But other than her, and she like
Well, fuck
again,
her.
there
Fuck
are
her.
certain
I
ones
mean,
that
that's
stick
not,
out.
yeah.
But other than that one woman,
Right.
um, other than her, but like that's the whole thing is like, when someone sees it in a physical number, if someone
Right.
sees I got 50 likes on this,
Yep.
instead of saying, "Oh my God, 50 people liked this," they say only 50 people like this. And
That's just so asinine to me.
yeah, but it is, but
It-
it's conditioning.
so, uh, just to give you an update on what I've been doing over the last year, uh, basically, is I've invited people that I've spoken with. They can actually come down to Florida or whatever to, you know, meet me and all this kind of stuff. And I'll
Yep.
tell you this: up for the challenge, um, he was a
He
really.
moved in. He's still there. He's right next to you right now, isn't he?
It's probable, but no.
Don't bring him out. The height difference between you and you is even worse than the
Oh
height difference
Jesus,
between me and you.
the height difference between me and everyone is ridiculous. But it so he, I was struggling with my meds actually. It was like I was prescribed like 120 milligrams of Adderall a day, and it just it wound me. I've been doing that for 30 years and it worked, but all of a sudden it didn't, and
Right.
I couldn't drive.
Yeah.
So up for the challenge goes, okay, I'll see you in, 2 days. He flew down here and rented a house and just said, you know what? I'm just here for you if you need it. But other than that, do your thing. Then, of course, we have Mark Mailer, who, um, lived next door to him, who I used to employ, and he took him for groceries and all that kind of stuff. But like, I get what you're saying in terms of like getting off social media. The thing is, I was never on it.
Yeah, yeah.
All I wanted was that kind of camaraderie. And so I got asked to speak in Austin, Texas at this some sort of like ADHD conference thing or whatever. And Up told me, he goes, uh, they just want you for your money. And I said, all right, well, I'm going to try to navigate this and whatnot. Um, he was right. And I had like 8 people come out and support, but Leah was there, RJ was there. Uh, there was Eric, one of my friends from high school. Like everyone showed up, and Leo said something to me. He goes, "You know what's interesting about this is that you truly don't give a fuck about any of speaking or any of this. You saw an opportunity, so you went after it. When it didn't work out, we just hung out.
Mhm.
Like that to me is I'm still the same low bow man. Like I I do not give a rat's fucking ass about any of this social media shit because it is so crippling to so many people. And that's like all those people at that conference, it was $547 a ticket. A ticket.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah. So I bought 8 of them, gave them to my friends or whatever. And all of a sudden at the end of the day, it was like, you know what? Um, let's just go back to the house and chill out and be friends. Like that's and so we did that. And then 2 people that I had not met came over to the house and they were like, yeah, we want something real, not something fake. And so I talked to them for hours. I'm still really good friends with them now. That was 2 people that that didn't buy into the shit.
Mm.
And I think that that's what maybe you're doing on a heightened level is you're like, fuck this. I can actually talk to an individual, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
It makes you feel so much better than
well, I mean, I suppose on the flip side of it though, like
right.
I'd love to say that was it. That was just it. Like this learning platform that we're doing has the potential to be in every school in the UK.
Awesome.
Like,
Awesome.
and that is,
But how did
you
that
know,
start?
okay. How did that start? By me sliding into the DMs of my boss.
Okay, so social media. God
So,
damn, I can't win. I can't win on this.
yeah.
I can't win.
No, well, okay. Well, okay, but here's the thing, right? What I want to actually say about this
Yep.
is it's a hybrid in reality. I over the years I couldn't even tell you how many people I've interacted with
Right.
through social media, and I mean even directly interacted with. I'm
Right.
not talking like, whether that is a message or whether that is chatting to someone while I'm on a stream or whatever
Right.
it might be. It is in the absolute thousands.
Right.
Of that, there have been a significantly smaller number of people that I have tried to pursue something with in real life. Um,
Interesting.
and of that number of people, there has been really only one which is my boss. He hates being called my boss, so I call him it all the time. Um,
Fair enough.
And basically, yeah. So like you'd probably love the how this all came to be. Really,
I would love this.
is is that basically I was looking around to see other people doing events because you say you don't really care about going and doing events and speaking. That's what I care about. Like
Right.
I
Right.
want
Right.
like
Oh no, I
I
love
that
speaking. I just don't like speaking online. I want it in real
okay, right,
life.
okay.
That's
So like that was all I wanted to do. Like after
right.
like the very first time I did it, I'm sure I must have told you this story on an earlier podcast, but like the sort of Cliff Notes version is I was training to do a nutrition degree, and on the nutrition degree there was a bunch of stuff on mindset, and basically the premise was it doesn't really matter if you know the best diet to get a person on it if you can't get them to stick to it.
Right.
So there was loads of stuff on coaching and how to influence people and how to kind of like,
Oh,
create a plan that a person's going to much more likely to stick to
right.
and
Right.
help the person get in the mindset to stick to it. And I just turned out to be like a natural on that side of the course. And as a
Yeah.
result, I'd booked out the studio in the gym that I worked at the time and asked if I could run a nutrition seminar. And they said, fine. I booked it, started advertising for it. As it started getting closer, I was like, I don't want to talk about, kale. I don't want to talk about broccoli. Everyone knows that broccoli is healthier than pizza, unless it's a broccoli pizza. But,
Sorry. Pretty funny.
but like I'm like I want to talk to people about motivation, and I want to talk to people about it wasn't
Right.
mental health. That's why my name's Mindset by Dave. I spend most of my time talking about mental health. I spend very little time talking about mindset. Because in reality, you need to get a person needs to be in a certain mindset to be able to actually improve their mindset. If their mindset's low, it's like ridiculously low, like mine used to be a lot of the times, you kind of need to get out of that survival mode first. Someone telling you, oh, you can outthink your problems or whatever. You actually need someone to tell you that life is really shit sometimes. Like, it's not an either or. It's not either life is shit or it's just the way you look at it. It's like life is shit, but we can also, and not but, and we can also choose how we look at it. And so that's what I thought. I thought I want to do this. That's what I want to do this talk. And I wrote this presentation. It was like 2 hours long. It was called "Your Mind, the greatest cinema of all time," and it was just all about like visualization skills and goal setting and all that stuff. And I basically delivered it for 2 hours. And as soon as I finished, I was just like, "This is what I want to do forever."
I love that.
And that was like
I love that.
I don't know. That was like 9 years ago now, and I still haven't changed. Now, I've got ADHD, so I change my hobbies I change my interests really frequently. So the fact that I've not actually changed from that, that's what I still want to do now. Like, so while we've been working on this learning platform, I've been like, okay, because I've only got a certain number of hours I can do for the NHS. I'm like,
Right.
when can I go back into a school? Every time a school gets in touch with me, if I send it to my boss, I'm like, can I say yes to this, please? It's like I want to be out there. Like some of my colleagues
I
might
love
find it
that.
like if you've got to deliver the same talk like 5 times in one day to 5 different classes in a school, some of my colleagues might find that a bit boring. I'm just like, well, it's never the same talk. That's the thing. It's not. It might be the
Eh,
same
that's
topic. It's
the
not the same
ADHD
talk.
right there. That's the
Yeah,
ADHD. It'll never be the same.
exactly. In fact, there's a running joke whenever we train people up, like they turn around to my boss and go, "Am I supposed to deliver it like Dave?" And he goes, "Dave doesn't even deliver it like Dave." It's like, don't worry about it. Like, you don't have
I
to
love
be
that.
spot on with every
I
word
love
he's
that.
just said, because next time, if you were to sit and watch him do it again right now, it'd be different. And so yeah, so I was looking. The whole point is that's all I wanted to do, and I knew
Right.
that was all I wanted to do. So I've always had this sort of belief in collaboration over competition. I'm not here to try and like put out someone else's spark. I'm here to work alongside
No,
it,
no, fine.
and that's what I've always thought. So I thought, you know what? I had this belief that there was no one else doing what I was doing in my area. And I thought, well, have I just got that belief because I've not looked? So I started looking. And there really wasn't many people doing what I do in this area. But there was a page called Change Talks, and he just put on 2 events in the town, one of the towns closest to me, Preston. He put them like on there. Council backed by the local council. He wasn't working for the NHS at that point. He was just working, but the council were kind of giving him some money to put these events on and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I love what he's doing. And okay. What I meant when I sent an email, a DM on Instagram, and what I said, I'll tell you what I said, and I'll tell you what I meant. Um, what I meant
I
was,
love that.
I really want to fucking talk at this. Let me, like, um, what I said, because I'm not that pushy.
That's
My inner voice is very pushy. My outer voice not so much.
my outer voice
What
is very pushy.
no,
So
you don't say.
yeah, exactly.
You're, so, but what I actually wrote was like, I absolutely love what you're doing here. Um, I want to be involved and on whatever level you need. I was
Right,
like, if you want me to help old people to their seats, I'll do it. If you want me to go around Preston City Centre and hand flyers out, I'll do it. If you just want someone to promote it on social media, I'll do it. I just want to help.
right.
And I didn't try and again didn't
Oh,
try and I did want my spark to unite with his. I'll be perfectly honest. Um, anyway, basically he was just like, oh, this is like he's like, oh, he's like, oh, where I see you're based in blah blah blah. I like that. I don't mind saying Preston's my nearest city, but like the town, the village I live in's got like 6 people in it, so and I'm two of them. But
God,
but
you're
But
so
basically,
funny.
he's like, "Oh, I see you based there. I used to play rugby there." He's like, "Do you fancy meeting for a coffee?" So we met him for a coffee like a mile and a half down the road from my house. I think it was like the next day or at least like the same week. It was very, very quick. And he told me his story, and his story's not a million miles off mine. Like, he'd suffered with depression, like kind of ruined his chances with his A levels and stuff in college,
Right.
and like sort of let the depression essentially get the better of him, nearly to the point of suicide.
Damn it.
And he told me his story. I told him mine, and we just really connected, and it was great. And then a few days later, he sent me a message saying, "Would you tell your story in a school?" Bear in mind that my mental health problems started with school, I think. Um,
So did
but
mine.
um, but so the idea of stepping back into school, I didn't even like stepping back into schools for my kids' parents even. Like
Right.
schools to me were just bad memories. And I've got this whenever something comes up in my head where it's like basically that's too hard or that's too like that scares me or whatever.
Right.
The answer is always no, but yes. It's like so I'm like he's like, would you do this in a school? And I was like, I really don't want to, so yes. And
I kind of
I
like
went
that
and gave the
actually.
talk to I went and gave the talk to a bunch of kids. They were all about 15, I think. Maybe year nine group, so
Jeez.
maybe 14. And I loved it. And he was like, okay, he's like, oh, I just wish he's like that was absolutely fantastic. Like he's like, I wish you could do this again. And I was just like, well, just let me know when you've got some, and if I can fit it in, I'll fit it in. And he's like, well, he's like, I've not got a budget to pay anybody or anything like that. I've just, he was working for the NHS at this point. And he's like, I've not got a budget to pay anyone. I was like, look, I'll tell you what, you just tell me when they are. If I can make it, I'll make it. And if I can't, like if I can afford to give the time at that point, I will do it. And if I can't, I won't. And we'll just take it from there. And you don't have to feel bad about asking. Like, so he did that. And then I started doing about six every 6 weeks. So like I'd do our terms are like you've got they're
Right.
basically
Right. Right.
split into six. Yeah. So instead of a semester, we kind of, I guess, have a trimester or whatever, but they're
Yep.
split in half as well. So they have like 6 weeks in, a week off, 6 weeks in, 2 weeks off, blah, blah, blah. That's the way our school system sits split over here. So he would do a block of 6 weeks in every one of those half terms. And so I would do 1 week at all of the schools. So maybe on like week five, I'd go in and just do like, you do three schools, two a day on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
It's amazing.
And if I could make all six, I'd just do it. Like for 1 week of it. And
Amazing.
it just again, like it was the same topic virtually every single time, but I never tired of it, like ever.
It's
And
because it's
so that so
reliable.
that was the things like, and then obviously like when locked, there was a few other bits and pieces that we did for work together, but when lockdown came round, um, it changed things in the positive for me because he was like, well, how can we help people now? And when someone asks me that question, I've always got an
Oh,
answer.
Jesus.
So I was
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I just started streaming at this point. I'd always planned to start streaming like one day a week on a Sunday night, funnily enough, was what I planned. So it didn't get in the way of my work on the
Right,
other
right,
days.
right.
Um, but yeah, so I just started streaming at this point, and I was like, well, we can stream it. And the cool thing about streaming it was like, before that they didn't have a budget for help for bringing anybody else on. Once
Right.
they saw what we were doing online, the budget became available. So that's how I ended up in their employ, So, but it's all, but that's what the reason I say about it's sort of it's a hybrid is it took social media to for me to be able to find this person like now,
Got
and
it.
I've found,
Got
as
it.
I say, I've found many people, and something people have found on social media have been completely detrimental. And that's the thing what scares a lot of people off is the fact that it's completely a lottery. You have to have a certain degree of faith. And whenever you step into any sort of engagement with people, this is online or offline, um, you you never know where it's going. You never know where it's going to lead. And if I'd have just let earlier experiences of people kind of like taking advantage or promising the world but not really delivering or whatever,
Right.
I'd never have
Right.
met. I'd never have met this person. And honestly, actually, he's very much like you in the fact that he doesn't want this, he doesn't really want to be on social media full stop either. Um, Again, the rest of the team are the ones that keep him on it to a degree because we need to use the platforms to kind of
Right.
to get the product or the service or whatever out there.
So my thing is, I am very perceptive in terms of humans. I think I don't feel a connection unless I actually meet that person, and that's a problem with me. That is an issue. I cannot feel a connection unless I have shaken your hand and said, you know what, let's go out for beers. I mean, shit, you bought my pizza, Dave, in Orlando. Okay, so
It was a
like
lot of beers.
it was,
It
no,
was
it was,
so many beers.
oh, so many beers.
And we
But
were in a tropical storm.
you were there for like 4 more days. But
I was. Which
but
worked out well for me because I was meant to be flying home the next day and I did have
right,
somewhat
right.
of a
I saw
hangover.
your tweet. You're like, yeah, I'm not going home for another couple days.
So I walked over to Disney Marketplace and watched Black Panther. It was great.
Right. No, for me, it's just it's literally I cannot. I have this absolute separation phobia of like I cannot get to know someone unless I meet them in real life. Except for the fact that there are a lot of people that I love that are just online. But like Dave, I'm telling you, it it matters, man. Like it matters when you actually get to know someone in real life. And I will never give up on this topic ever because the whole like um I got asked to I told you this. I got asked to speak at this stupid ADHD thing or whatever. And I I wasn't a keynote speaker, obviously, because I don't have a lot of followers and all that kind of stuff. I reached out to one person and asked, I go, give me 5 minutes at the end of your speech or at the beginning. Just give me 5 minutes. And he said, okay, great. And then all of a sudden, the person in the background is saying, like, you have 5 minutes left. That's it. And I was like, oh God, he's going to flip out because he promised me this or whatever. It didn't matter. What mattered was that like a couple of people came over to the house and I got to know them. And now all of a sudden it's, I'm helping them daily.
Mhm.
People do not understand that like social media and being popular and all that kind of stuff, if you're popular with 10 people in real life, it's worth 10 billion fucking followers.
It's the level of impact, isn't it?
Yes. Sorry,
And
I
it's
haven't
like
changed again. Just telling you.
I mean, so like one of the one of the things that I we teach in schools when we talk about the concept of communication, right?
Right.
And um, a lot of kids are much better than we are at communicating through technology, but they are completely abysmal at communicating in real life. And when I talk about it, I was like, well, okay, of course you are, because the one like we were given endless opportunity. In fact, we had no choice but to communicate in face to
Right.
face when we were
Right.
growing up, when we were their age. Had I think within our generation, had the technologies been available, there would have been a distinct number of people that preferred to do it. But it's okay. So I often use the analogy of music, like speaking in real life, like learning the guitar, speaking on the internet, like playing the piano, or vice versa, right? Doesn't matter which one's which instrument. They're both underpinned by some concepts. Like they're both underpinned by the concepts of music, the concepts of harmony, right? Communication, whether it's face to face or online, is underpinned by connection. It's underpinned by understanding. There's a few sort of theories there, but the actual application of it is different. Now, Would it be quicker for someone who already plays the piano to learn the guitar? Probably, because they already understand some of these principles of harmony, whatever. But they wouldn't be able to just sit down at one and play it.
Right.
And this is the whole thing is what a lot of our generation do to the younger generation is they go, well, just talk to people in real life. Just talk to me now. Like, I'm right here in front of you.
Uh,
And what
I don't represent that. Like that's not what I'm.
well, I'm not saying you. I said people in our generation. I'm not singling you out.
You sound like up. You sound
But
like up right now.
that's because we're both British. But remember, we're
I know.
completely different ends of the country. But basically, that's one of the kind of things is that it's like that your experience of gaining a connection as was forged in real life.
Yeah.
um and to a degree, and so was mine, obviously, so for me, yes, meeting someone real life, I've got this expression when like I meet someone real life, and you said you before you're a good judge of character and whatnot. My expression is every now and then I'll meet someone, I'll go, I'll keep this one. That's and I'll it's there's I like this person or whatever, or they're easy to get on with
Yeah.
is one thing, but I'll keep this one is a special honor. And but that's the whole thing is that what with a lot of young people is that they're stuck in this online space because they've
Right.
not practiced the skill of speaking to someone in real life. And just like with any other unpracticed
Exactly.
skill, they suck
Exactly.
at it, and people don't like sucking at things. And the reason I like to present it this way is because it basically, if I'd say to her, okay, well, look, have you ever played the guitar? No. Well, I wouldn't expect you to sit down and play a symphony right now. Like I wouldn't expect you to sit down and be
Correct.
able to play absolutely amazingly on the first go.
Right.
Would you? And that's the whole thing is like, okay, how much time have you spent speaking to people in real life? Not a lot. Okay, so it's okay that it's hard. And when something like that as well is hard to some people, when to a lot of other people it's considered such a natural part of life, and it's like one of the big things that changed for me in the last few years since we met is literally the January after we met, I started playing chess, which I played a little bit as a kid, but I basically got
Right.
kicked out for having undiagnosed ADHD. I was too disruptive for chess club, so I
Really
lasted
big
about
surprise.
yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Like but so I was kicked out after about I think 4 weeks, 6 weeks at most. It wasn't many weeks.
Right.
So I was kicked out very early, and then this was the 90s, so therefore had absolutely no one online to play with or anything, so I didn't play. It's very difficult to play chess on your own. Computers and stuff like that played
Right.
against you were the ones that the ones that existed were actually far too good and also far too expensive.
Right.
But so I've started playing like, and to the point of which like I'm completely obsessed. Like I'm in a team. I play in a league.
I love that.
I play
I
at
love that.
3 day long events,
Yeah.
where I play 5 3 hour long games within that time. Yeah, yeah,
Five
exactly.
3 hour long.
Yeah. So that's the
Holy
level.
shit.
But
Okay.
I'm like there's obviously there are rankings and levels and whatnot, right? And I can, if I've got a new person come to our chess club, because I've my rise through those rankings has been very recent and has been as an adult, I remember what it was like to be terrible. I mean, I'm still not great, but I remember what it was like to be terrible. Now, I have lessons. I've had lessons from a couple of masters. I've not had a lesson from a grandmaster yet because I think it'd just go over my head completely. But what the key difference between if that master is useful to me or not comes down to their ability to put themselves back in my shoes.
Okay.
This is the whole reason for this long chess segue, is that their ability to remember what it was like, what the mistakes they were making at my point. Because if they can't remember that, and they're just looking at it as like, oh, this is just so basic. This is like, not they are not even saying it in that such a condescending way, but kind of that's the way they're being driven. then it's no use. And that's the same as like a lot with a lot of people. That's why I feel the same about when we speak to people that are on social media and are entirely on social media. I am very much with you on the fact of like it is about real life connections. I'm also concerned that we will lose. We've lost a lot of real life connections because it's easier to have
because of
online
people like
connections.
me.
And
And
it's less friction. It's
that's
like okay, if
well,
you're
right. It's less friction, but at the end of the day, it literally it can help someone or cripple them for life.
oh, absolutely.
And that's like I want to be there in real life to help them not do something that that ah, it's good to talk to you again. Uh, but you and Up say the same thing.
Oh, balls. I'm still reading. I'm still not original.
it's oh hey, you know what? Well, how is this not real life? I don't know the education behind all this. Fuck education. I want the person. I want the person sitting in front of me, having beers, saying, "Hello, how was your day?" That's all I want. And
Yeah.
and, and that's what I think you're doing by getting off that bullshit social media.
Okay,
I
but one
like,
thing, but
hey, by the
the
way,
thing, so,
I'm still the
so,
same. You know
yeah,
that,
well, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But the thing is that you're saying you want that person to meet you where you are.
Oh, here we go with the meet you where you are. Okay, so
And I'm and
wait,
okay, that the look,
the,
that that is gonna vibe with people that are already in your camp, and it's gonna vibe with people that are on the cusp of being in your camp, yeah.
right,
And
right.
every now and then you're gonna scare the fuck out of someone from the other side, and they'll come all the way over.
I will absolutely
Um,
scare the fuck out of everyone. But
the
what I will say is that Dave, I love you.
I love you too, and but
That
the
that it's not oh love you man. It's I love you. I love you,
yeah,
not love you
I
man. So
and I love you too.
awesome. So now continue with the spiel.
So when are we gonna make out?
uh,
So
Probably never, but
the height difference, yeah. So no,
well, I go viral. But yeah,
like
no,
and like look, this isn't like it's never me saying
I
my
know,
approach or your
I
approach.
know. I'm
It's
just
never that.
I'm just tired.
I'm not,
I'm tired, Dave.
despite the fact that I sometimes get high on my own supply. I do not think that I've never thought that, oh, it's my way or like whatever. I'm just saying it's two different approaches. And now
I know,
again,
I know.
there is a pitfall. So I'm saying that you're saying I want you to meet me here. I'm like, where do you need me to meet you? Like, and now we're
Similar though. It's like where did you need me to meet you? Okay, you can't come to the lake. I'll just go to Orlando. So
But no, okay. So I'm being figurative rather than literal. So you're
shit.
saying I want how where the where is more like the it's okay, the where is more like a how.
Okay.
How do you want to meet you? You want that person to sit down, speak to you face to face, have beers, etc. That is,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know you will get the
100%.
most out of that interaction by being in
Yeah.
that position.
100%.
And I think if the other person is ready for that, they will get the most out of that interaction. And now, so that's so the where do you want me to meet you? Like that's one where. Where is
Okay. You were speaking
the
literal instead of
yeah,
okay.
exactly.
So, sorry.
Whereas I'm
I'm
like
not the most educated
so
person here.
it's not it's just to be fair, I'm the one misusing the word where because it's not about physical location. It's about it's about a vibe to use a really cheesy word, but
Oh,
it's about like it's about a how more than a where. How
yeah.
do you want like so now and that's where I was saying that my method of it is more like okay, if me trying to get that person to meet me here is not working, I need to meet them there. And that where they are at as a person, where they are at, like where they are at, like so. a lovely kind of sort of like there's a great film that I love called What Dreams May Come. It's a Robin Williams
Oh
film.
my God, I love that fucking movie.
Yeah. So there's
She's in the
to complete
trenches and all.
spoilers for anyone who's never watched the film. There is about to be one of the most important lines of the whole film revealed. So his wife's taken her own life. She's in hell. He's gone to try and find her. He's been in
Right,
heaven for those who don't know. And he found out that she's also died. They both lost their kids in a tragic car accident, so they've both gone through a lot of trauma. And Robin Williams being Robin Williams, it's like almost like he's playing himself in this situation.
a thousand
He's
percent.
dealt with the trauma of losing his children by throwing his life into his work and trying to help people.
Right,
The wife got consumed by a depression, and then ultimately, after he died, she took her own life.
right.
So he goes into hell to try and find her, and I'll never get this line exactly right. My camera's just dipped because I knocked my
No,
screen.
you're fine.
But he basically says, "I realized it was a." Okay, I need the line. I can't get it too quick enough. He's like, I realized it wasn't that I couldn't take you to heaven; it's that I couldn't sit in hell with you.
Right.
And
That's actually exactly what that line is. Uh,
it's along those lines. And also there's another line that he says to his son, which is if I was going through fucking hell, there's no one else I'd want by
yeah,
my side. Like two of my favorite lines from the whole film. And that's the kind of point is the fact that like if we want to be able if we want to be able to help people, sometimes it's about we can bring them to the light where we are. Sometimes we can just be the point of light and shine that beacon and bring them
yeah,
over. It's possible. Other times we need to go and sit in the dark with them first. And sit in the dark with them might mean like okay, for two people like me and you, we're very high energy individuals, we're very hyper. Um I'm like a Labrador, you're more like a Jack Russell. But
with the golden retriever mix. Okay, come on.
yeah, there's definitely some ankle biting going on though. But
I love that. I love that.
but so yeah, I'm a golden deceiver. It's because there's nothing I've
A
gone grey
golden.
now. But so yeah, basically we've both got that Labrador golden retriever energy type thing going on. And if like there are some people that I can't help with that Labrador Golden Retriever energy, so I need to switch into, as I said before, like not just being like you need to out mindset this, you need to beat this or whatever. It's like it's fucking shit. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
Like you and meeting that person there. And again, I'm using the word there as a kind of
right.
spiritual metaphorical there
Thank you for
rather than
telling me that because I was like, there, I'll meet you in Orlando. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
If
I'll
that's
meet you in Orlando. Yeah,
it.
sweet. But but yeah, like
Thank you for meeting me there.
you know what I've not said for this entire thing. What was the question?
No,
Was there a question?
no, there wasn't.
I'm
And
sure.
that's the whole point. I never ask questions. I asked like two to three on the podcast, but like at the end of the day, my method of loving people where they are
Yes.
works. Your method of loving people where they are works. It's just that for me, I I desperately need to be face to face with someone else. Now, that being said, that's selfish because it's my way of approaching things. When that person that doesn't want to meet face to face can still put like come on a Zoom call and I'll still talk to them. The bottom line for me is this: I do not change ever, um, ever. But I know that so many people out there need help, and so I'm going to do that in my way. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. And that's not necessarily selfish. If
I,
like
well,
I'm letting you off
quasi.
the hook. Actually,
Yeah,
I'm already
I
off the hook.
appreciate
No, no,
that.
do you want to
Don't.
be on the hook?
Yes, yes, I do.
Ah, well, tough. So okay. Right. Was it okay? Was it selfish for me to leave streaming?
No.
Well, there you go. So I that, do you know why? And that was because I was in a position where I could no longer do it my way.
Right.
And if I couldn't, like now, if I couldn't do it, if I couldn't approach it like the way of helping people the way I wanted to, that flexibility I was talking about meeting a person where they are, what I was saying before is there are pitfalls to that because I will
Right.
sometimes go, like there's a range of darkness, right? The idea of it as well is okay, you go and sit with the person in the dark, but you gradually help them out. If you sit with some people in the dark, they gradually pull you in.
Awesome.
There's the expression, the good old expression of a problem shared is a problem halved.
Right.
With the right person, with the wrong person, a problem shared is a problem doubled. Like there are, and that's sometimes the issue. And the thing is,
Right.
my big problem was always I wanted to help absolutely everybody, even the people that
Me
maybe
too.
would get like I still believe that everyone can be helped.
I
And for
agree.
so there must have been some point where I thought everyone can be helped by me, um, which is again more egotistical than I am. So, but the point, but like, but the thing is, like I used to always say, like when
uh,
people would come in, and often we get people that were actively suicidal in the chat, and I'd be like,
Jesus.
I would try my best to do an intervention in front of an audience, which is a terrifying thing to do. But
You think?
because I'm not like trying to impress anybody there, I'm actually
Right.
just trying not to fuck up. Because actually, I mean, I'm trained in suicide prevention, but and you do take some calculated risks sometimes. But those calculated risks are a little bit like your WhatsApp group chat. You don't want everybody seeing them. Like, like sometimes you take a gambit and you have to work your you have to know your intuition on that. Um, but basically, I've totally forgotten what I was saying. Brain fog.
No, no,
But
you're fine.
the
Hey,
point was, whilst I was trying to help everybody, it was draining me from being able to help anybody. And I
right.
feel the same there. So there's nothing selfish about what you do because if you were to capitulate and essentially listen to me and up, two of your most wise friends.
Of course, because you're English and all this
Yes,
bullshit.
of course.
Yeah,
Yes,
of course, of course, of course. We're all
it's the
English
amount
and
of
we all.
tea that we drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and the fact that we like a bottle of water.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't actually say that because I'm Northern, but
Right. He explained that
but
to me north south.
but yeah, but like the whole point being is there'll be a rate. It's yours isn't as binary as you think. You have levels. I've seen many of them.
Yeah.
Like I've seen you where you can't get a full sentence out because you want to get an entire paragraph out. Like,
Right.
um,
That's ADHD.
yeah, but I've also seen you like dilute exactly what you're thinking down to a 3 sentence longer motivational speech that
Right.
just freaking gets people pumped. Like you have gears, you have range. It's all in a certain style, but you don't. But it's not. I would never describe it as one way, and I certainly wouldn't describe it as selfish. You might be able to deviate outside of that way, and as you say, you will speak to people on a Zoom call, you will do all those things, and you do that. But if you were to only do that, then your spark would go out.
Correct.
And then if your spark goes out, well, now you're not helping anybody. And
Right.
that's the
Right.
issue is like, okay,
Exactly.
if you try,
Exactly.
like I said before, if you try to help everybody and it leads to you helping nobody, it's it's worse than you realizing that you've got to pick your battles and you've got to
So
and
I feel
there
like I
might be
do a
some
good
people
job
that
of
if you're
picking
trying
my
to help them and
battles.
they don't want your particular style of things, then you've got a bunch of friends you can pass them on to. You've
Right.
got people.
Right. So fuck them. Talk to this person.
And yes, and in fact, there's a very
That.
British saying: if you can't be everyone's cup of tea, because if you were, you'd be a mug.
Oh,
Um,
Jesus. Do I have a mug anywhere? No, I've got a solo cup.
red solo cup.
You fill me up.
I've got I've got a goblet that's also a gauntlet. I don't drink out of this because mainly because it's really small. Like the actual goblet part of it's tiny. I've got a Viking beer horn
Can
somewhere in here as
can
well. Oh
people
yeah,
from
over there.
England just have a glass of like whiskey? Is there any chance that that happens?
Of what? Sorry.
Can anyone from England have just a glass of whiskey with ice?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
okay,
Well, ooh,
they, I
you
knew
don't
it.
put
I
ice
knew it.
in it.
I knew it.
The glass of whiskey, yes. A wee dram.
It's been an amazing thing. I am tired, as you notice, but I actually delegated a lot. I've delegated everything um, to where like I can just do this podcast, catch up with a friend, and it's all fine. Because
Good.
at first it was like I'm editing this and editing that. I'm like, oh my god, I can't do this. However, the Friday nights of benefits, there's Australia. Let's see, Idaho.
That's Saturday morning with benefits, then, isn't it?
I'm not a morning person, so whatever.
No,
But
thankfully.
that's but honestly, it's been tough, but I don't stop. Like I do not stop because I know ultimately that what the end result is, and the end result is you help someone. So no matter the style, whether it's yours or mine or Ups or Leo's or RJ's or whoever it is, it doesn't matter. You help someone, you win every fucking day. Anyways,
Agreed.
live out, spark out, and I'm gonna cut this recording so Dave and I can actually talk as human
Wait,
beings.
we weren't talking?
Yeah. All right, buddy.